Hey guys, I wanted to make a little video about the FT8 mode and show a few contacts and then go over how it's all configured. So here within JTDX, this is the software that we're using for the digital modes. We have our mode selected on FT8, and there are some settings in here that we'll go over later. But for now, let's just jump into it and look at how a contact works. So I'm on 15 meters right now, so let's start monitoring. And you can see that the cycle for FT8 is a 15-second cycle. So you receive for 15 seconds, transmit 15 seconds, receive 15 seconds, back and forth. And here's the first batch that we get. So this is everything that came over the frequency during that 15-second period. And this has a really nice way that it does the color background highlighting and call sign highlighting. So we can see a few stations are calling for a CQ. So any station that we click on here, it will automatically open a new QSO with them. So what we're seeing here is stations calling CQ. This guy's looking for DX, so he's in Serbia and he's looking for someone outside of Serbia. These other stations, these messages are to this call sign, from this call sign, and they're talking about the grid square and what the connection quality is, like what the RSSI is. We'll check that out in just a second. So for right now, let's find somebody to reply to and make a QSO. Let's go find that Serbia station, because I don't think I've contacted a Serbia station yet. So it's really easy. You just double click on it. And you see over here on this side, on the transmit side, this has started the conversation. And we see that he's calling CQ, and his signal to me is a -15, -14. We can see what his call sign is, YU1EU, and KN04 is his grid square. So let's see, when I clicked on him, that automatically queued up a scheduled message. So I'm transmitting, and I'm transmitting to him his call sign, my call sign, and then my grid square, DM42. It looks like he got our message, and his client has responded saying my call sign, his call sign, and he's receiving me at a -16 decibels. So after that, this client sends back saying, okay, Roger, I got you at -13 decibels. So we can see the values here in this column. And after that, he should send a Roger, Roger 73. If he received my message, it looks like his client didn't receive it yet. Sometimes you have to wait for this. The transmit and receive cycle is a little, a little long. You got to be patient. So let's give him another couple opportunities to reply. And so, yeah, the way I have this set up on auto transmit using this auto sequencer, which is just going through the standard messages that it configured as soon as I clicked on him. So as soon as you click on somebody, the whole thing is like automated. All right, he wrote back and said Roger, Roger 73, meaning that he received my signal report and my grid square. And so my client now sent him the 73 message saying, okay, cool, goodbye. And at this point, the QSO is all done. I have this set up to automatically log into my World Radio League logbook. And so this is that contact, right? And if we click on this icon, we can see the distance and the map. I'm actually using 20 watts, not 15. We see the mode, how many miles, 6,000 miles, isn't that crazy? And then what was sent, what was received for the signal quality. Okay, so that's pretty cool. It's pretty easy to make contacts that way. Let's clear this stuff out and let's go about it the other way. What if I want to call CQ? So to do that, I would just click on this last message here on the TX Now button. This is going to queue up that message to be transmitted on the next transmit cycle. And you see up here, it's transmitting CQ, my call sign, and my grid square. So now we just sit back and wait. Hopefully someone sees that and they will reply. Typically, if everything's working right, usually you'll get a reply here within 30 seconds to a minute. It's a pretty active mode, at least at the moment. Dominican Republic, Netherlands, Norway, Serbia, Canada, Czech Republic. It's kind of cool. This I found that this 15 meters is like really international. It seems to work really well. 20 meters is pretty good, but I find that that's typically like domestic. You'll get a lot of continental US, and you'll get Canada typically only. But like 12 meters, 15 meters, 17 meters, it seems to be a lot more international. Okay, someone saw the call, and you can see that his client wrote back my call sign, his call sign. Oh, two people replied, KF9UG and KJ1J. So this client is going to pick whoever replied first, who is KF9UG. You can see that it filled out the whole conversation, and because he replied first, it's going to auto sequence the whole conversation here. So he sent me his grid square, and I'm transmitting back saying I'm receiving you at a -9 decibels. He says, Roger, you're at -11. My client says, Roger, Roger, 73s. And he'll send back a 7.3 message, typically. Typically, not always. And sometimes these messages get a little lost in transit, right? But there it is. So he says back, okay, 7.3. So that's the end of our conversation. So let's go back and get that other guy who called KJ1J. So if we just double click on that, it's going to repopulate the whole conversation template here. And I'm going to call to him and say, I've received you at a -15 decibels. Remember, he's responding to my CQ, so he already knows my grid square, and I already know his grid square. So the only thing left is to exchange the signal strength, what I'm receiving him at and what he receives me at. So I'm telling him, I got you at -15. Hopefully he sees that. And so the lowest that I've seen this operate on is something like -24. You can look here at the dB column to see what I'm receiving at right now from all these different, like, look at this from Norway. I'm receiving him at, where did that go? At -16, which is still pretty good. -24 seems to be where it bottoms out at. So anything that's like 20 or less, it's going to be a really spotty connection. But because it's digital and it's well optimized, you can make these really long distance contacts and like not much power at all. I don't know if this guy's going to come back. So we can just pick on any of these messages that are here in this window to double click on them. I'm going to hit turn off enable transmit just to stop this. So we can double click on any of these conversations here. We can see this guy CQNA. He's in Croatia. So let's see if we can get a reply from him. So we double click and that turns back on enable, and that fills out the auto sequencer template. And I send him his call sign, my call sign, and my grid square. Let's see if he acknowledges that. And sometimes these guys will have 2 or 3 different clients or more that are trying to respond to them. So sometimes your message might get a little lost in the shuffle. There is some like manual clicking to make sure everything stays on track. We'll give it one more attempt here. He called to this call sign. So he was responding to someone else. So he had a conversation going. So hopefully now that is completed, right? Because of Roger, Roger 73. Hopefully now he'll see my conversation, my QSO, and we can wrap it up. Sometimes you'll find stations that you can hear them, but when you transmit, they can't hear you. I think it's just a matter of, he called CQ again, so maybe he's not receiving me very well. Maybe I'm just not making it into Croatia on 20 watts. Let's give it one more cycle and then we'll go into the settings. All right, looks like no luck with that Croatia station. So let's go check out the settings. I'll do that in a separate video.